the Agnya Chakra involvement. This actually had a structure like that, and this tree fell on it, and so this will be rebuilt in time to come. It had a round structure. If you look at old photos here, it will be the old round structure. When this tree fell down in the last wind, so part of this big branch came down right on this samadhi.
Like very bad. Altogether, I'm like 100.
When did you ever go to Phuket?
In India itself, I went to this Ooty and Kodaikanal.
Oh, you went
place.
to Ooty, yeah.
Yeah, and there I was dead. I was like, if I'm dead for this climate itself, what would I do? Like, you know, other parts of the world.
We went to Phuket.
So this was Velu Swamigal. Here you do your fire walking.
Yeah.
Get into the shade because this is the fireworking penance. In summer, this whole coming back here is a total firework. So Velu Swami is here. As you can see, it's a three-bird path. The Manipura and the Agni Mandala, Tejo Mandala, the red triangle, and he was the one who stayed there for the shortest period. The stress was so much, it took his life very very early because constant issues. The madams always had issues. We thought it was only after we came that it's always been there, and that's why I don't think he managed even 2 years here. So that's very funny.
Did you see that little cow? It's a little cow. Mama. Little cow. Where? Oh. Put him into baby.
என்ன ஒரு ஹவுஸ் ஒய்ஃப்ல கால் பண்ணிருக்கேன் அவங்க போனால் கொஞ்சம் அங்கே கதையெல்லாம் சொல்லலாம் அத்தியமாக போகலாம் நீங்கள் பாருங்க செட் ஆச்சுன்னா போயிட்டு வருங்க வியாழக்கிழமை என்ன பூஜை பாருங்க சொல்லுங்க அவங்க தகுந்த மாதிரி அவங்க அந்த வழியை this no price for guessing one birth path square yellow square. And this is where these concepts were brought straight to life. These are not just something painted on a wall. These come to life, and this is how Swamiji, his contemplation on each of the gurus. Subramania Swami was still alive when Swamiji came here. And in fact, Swamiji, because he came here on the, he came for one of the Guru Pujas and he passed away when he was here the night before. And so his devotees, because he was also at another place, so they thought that there was some foul play because Guruji went there and suddenly they say he's died. Sort of you can imagine the thing. So Swamiji had to bring a doctor and certify that it was no foul play in anything because so from that time Swamiji was involved from Subramania Swami. The Shanmuga Swami we'll be doing on Saturday night after the Shivaratri. We do his puja because he left the body right after the Shivaratri puja. So it goes with that. So each one of them is a special day that is commemorated and the ceremonies are done.
I like it so close to the fire. It was like that. Right? And it felt really nice.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Don't get into it. It's one of these fighting sports that is really brutal. He was
Those have been like lying around for like 3 years.
Here, this samadhi is Shankaragiri. Shankaragiri, whose photos are in the back. He is the one who anointed Swamiji as the Madhapati. And he used to have this long hair. There are a lot of stories of Shankaragiri, but he had this long hair that went on for a few meters. and used to tie it up as a knot. The original yogic dreadlocks, not the modern hippie stuff. Real guys. And he never used to have a bath. That was one of his siddhis.
Hello.
Whether it's a siddhi, I don't know, but he never had a bath. But there was no stink or anything. It was he used to, of course, wash his face and wash his hands and wash himself after stuff. But he never had a bath, and he used to always wear the vibhuti. He used to make his own vibhuti from cow dung. We burn the cow dung and make the vibhuti. That's how it's done with certain herbs and all. And he used to wear that, so very fragrant. He always had a very fragrant smell. And actually, I don't know. I have a lot of regard from him. Though I also fight a lot with him. So he's when I come here and stand and I abuse him. That, why did you bring us here? Because, if Swamiji was there, some other place, by now he would have had the world's first yoga university of the biggest ashram in the world, and he brought us here to suffer. It took my father's 30 years of life and my mother's 20 years of life away. But anyway, but nice guy. And a lot of stories with him. So he was 95 when he passed away and was very active, and he used to live at a place 4 hours from here. In those days it was 6 hours, now it's 4 hours, Karaikal. And a madam there and come and go. So he told Swamiji, no, I'm getting old, I want to go and take care. So he told Swamiji to take over this place. But well, till the last had to be with us for all the court cases and running here and there. Very amazing person and a very good Siddha. He was very good at Siddha Vaidya, the local medical system, and he used to treat a lot of people with that. You will see that his samadhi is made up of an 8-pointed star, not 6, signifying the Ashtanga Yoga, and the triangle in the center, which is the 3. So Swamiji brought in this special shape for him. And Swamiji built this samadhi when Shankaragiri was still alive. So Swamiji used to enjoy bringing him here and saying, this is where I'm going to put you. Imagine doing that to somebody. This is going to be your gravestone sort of thing. He used to find it funny, but the funny part is Swamiji had samadhi before him. So, but when he left the body, at least we knew where he was to be put. So there was no doubt about it. Shankaragiri Guru Maharajaya Namaha. Om. Huh? Yeah. He has fun thinking he has control over my life.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, because the red is so dominant. So it's not like you look nervous if you wear it again. Yeah. That's nice. This shrine was put up by Swamiji on the site of the Samadhi of Subhamal. Subhamal was a devotee of Kambi Swami,
And in fact, along with Ambalavana, was responsible for the creation of the Madam. The Madam didn't exist when Kambali Swami was there. After he attained Samadhi, it became the Kambali Swami Madam. And so she played a very big role. And the Swamiji, when he came, he found this abandoned one small Shiva Lingam there. And he said, "What is this?" He said, "Well, it's her Samadhi." He's like, "What did she do?" He said, "She did this." He's like, she should have a decent monument. So then he built this with the Lakshmi. And for many years we had the Lingam, now we don't have it, which was a sand Lingam that had become solid. So it was sand that had become solid. And Swamiji said it was because when she left the body, that most probably she was diabetic, and the sugar in the urine had solidified the earth in that area, so they found that and they made a lingam out of it. Now that it used to stay out there in the rain and nothing would happen. Along the way, somebody broke it, or the usual stories that happened here. Destruction is easier, always easier than creation. These are artistic depictions of what some of them look like, because other than Swamiji and Shankargiri, even Subramanya Swami, these are the only three who we actually have photos of. So the rest are more conceptualizations of what they would have looked like based on stories and other things. So just a few years back we came upon this with Ramaji's support. She had to say it was okay. ராமலிங்கம் பண்ணதாக அவர் பண்ணதாக
நேற்று முடிச்சுதான் வந்தான் சார் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சொன்னாங்க அப்பவே ஒன்றும் பேசிக்கல சார் அதை ஃபோன் பண்ணி கேட்டால் நம்ம சொன்னால் கேட்க மாட்டாங்க ஏதாவது சொல்லுவோம்
ईशानां सर्वविद्यानाम् ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवोऽहम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। ओम तत्परमंगल्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिंगेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुप्रचोदयात्। ओम राजाधिराजाय विवेकसानिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय विद्महे तमे कामां कामकामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणोदयाय कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय शिवविनादेशिकाय स्फटिकलिङ्गगुरुमहाराजाय नमः। ओम मौनव्याख्या प्रगतितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवाणां वशिष्ठान् देवसदृशिगण अवर्तो ब्रह्मनिष्ठै आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रानन्दमूर्तिं स्वात्मारामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। ॐ This form of Shiva is called Dakshinamurti and represents the teaching principle. This is why in our culture the teacher always sits in the north facing the south. The south is Dakshina. Right is also Dakshina. South is Dakshina. So the Murti, the form of Shiva, sitting facing south. So in any South Indian temple, if you want to know the direction, You just have to find Dakshinamurti, you know, he's sitting in the north facing south. It's a very good placeholder, like your Google Maps. So you just need to find him. And he has these 4 disciples who are aged. So they are the rishis. He is young. So the concept of Dakshinamurti is a youthful teacher who is having the disciples who are the aged rishis. And that is why it is said he is sitting with Chinmudra. Of course, the one they depict as Chinmudra is different than what we call Chinmudra. Ananda Murti, in the form of bliss. And they say Guru Yuva Shishyo Veda. The Guru is youthful, the Shishyas, the disciples are elderly aged. And these 4 are said to be Sanaka, Sanantana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanantana. And they are said to be the sons of Lord Brahma. So Brahma's sons, they learn from Shiva. This is part of the cultural ethos, and this is the ego. The Muyalagan, under all the Shivas, you will find Asmita, Muyalagan, one more name also. Apasmara, they call it. Apasmara. And he is the ego that is always under Shiva's foot. And when Shiva is dancing, sometimes Shiva is not paying attention and he sits up. And then Shiva, the next one, has to sort of push him down. So this is the Muyalagan. Amma made a beautiful dance where she had, I think Devasana danced as Shiva and Niremadi was the Muyalagan. And the dance between Shiva and the Asmita trying to control him. It's part of the ego control. This is where, the hundreds of kids would be up here on a Sunday. This is where the puja would be held. Hundreds of kids here having yoga class, dance class, music class, and quite an amazing energy. When I think of how Swamiji built this without knowing the local language, not knowing Tamil, coming straight from Canada and interacting with people here, I'm like, how did he ever build it? I cannot get a simple toilet built. And he built this ashram. It's just astonishing. And I remember all these arches, they would have these special wood molds and put the concrete in them and then put them up, and always somebody would make a mistake. It would be out of order and then break it down and put it again. All these statues were built here. You come here. This is a depiction of the wedding of goddess Meenakshi up here. And this is a typical depiction where Shiva is getting married to goddess Meenakshi. And Lord Vishnu, as her brother, gives away the hand of the bride. So this is the usual depiction of that coming together of Shiva and goddess Meenakshi, who is a form of goddess Parvati. And again, in those days, they put up scaffolding and they would sit there and make it by hand, one bit. It's quite an amazing. And the one here is the story of Lord Rama worshipping Shiva at Rameshwaram before he goes to Lanka to vanquish Ravana. So this is from Rameshwaram, where Rama worships Shiva. So this was the entrance of the ashram, and then Swamiji decided he wanted a samadhi right in the entrance. I'm sure there could be a good psychological analysis of why you would put your samadhi in the middle of the walkway. And Amma's like, again, he built it in the 80s. He left the body in the 90s. So more than 10 years we had that samadhi empty. And Amma used to say, seriously, why you had to block up a passageway with your samadhi? quite a story. And of course, the mandala there is where the outside classes would be. And again, all the classes Swamiji would be teaching sitting there with a huge people tree, the Bodhi tree there also. This was our monkey cage here. This is where we had our monkeys. No, 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 not. No, no, I'm not talking to both of you. Sorry, I didn't notice you. I was said gorilla cage, not monkey.
I know.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insult those young boys there.
We didn't know what you said it. No. We didn't mention the
Deer cage is down there.
This would have a top roof, and so this was our cage for the monkeys. So they would always be escaping, and we had to catch them. And while we were doing that, we would climb down through here because going around the stairs was too tough. So these monkeys would climb and go down this way, climb and go down this way, that way. And that enclosure there was where initially the deer used to be. We had a dozen deer. It became too small for the deer, so the enclosure went into the back there. And every week or 10 days, one of the deer would escape. So, we kids had fun trying to again find it and get it back. Monkeys would escape and come to class. There's a very nice image in the ashram of Swamiji with monkeys on his head and shoulders. And it's a real one, not posed. He would be teaching and they would just come and sit on him and, while he was teaching. Again, the concept of yoga in nature and and again, many of our monkeys were monkeys that escaped from the hospital because the hospital is just down the road, just maybe 600 800 meters down this side, the big hospital. And they used to in those days do a lot of monkey experiments. So there would be these monkeys whose brains had been electrocuted to test things. It was going on in the 70s 80s, and now and then one of those monkeys would escape, and here that monkeys are taken care of here and get fed, so it would end up here. So we had at least half a dozen of the monkeys were monkeys from the hospital who escaped. So it was a good. They had a wonderful life. Wonderful life. Running around, having fun. Only once we had an accident with a monkey, and that was not our monkey. It was from the hospital. Mogu was this huge one. He was huge, as big as me, sitting down. He was so huge. He was more like a gorilla. And this guy he was quite violent. And once he bit a small girl who had come for class on her head. So then we had to call in the tribals to shoot a gun and frighten him and still chase him away. That was the idea. And the last, Amma wrote a story about that. The last he was seen on top of a bus going to Chennai. So he was on top of the bus going to Chennai. So that's the story of Mogu. Amma had a lot of stories. This Swamiji had built up as his office in here. So this is where he would sit and Amma would type. Initially they used to be out here. And then this had a heat like your pranayama hut. It had a hut out here as the living area for Swamiji and Amma's room there. And the Hatha Yoga would be on this roof up here. To get there, you have to climb a fire escape. You have to climb a fire escape. There are no stairs.
But no stairs. That's why I want to tell them.
No, back here. Come. Today.
We were yeah, here's the stairs.
This is how you have to go to Hatha Yoga. This is how you have to go to Hatha Yoga class in the morning.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is This is the only way you can get up there to the roof. Yeah. This is how you have to go up. And Amma would have a class up there, and I would be lying here with my mridangam playing, lying down. This is how you got to class here. So if you couldn't make it up there, you left the ashram. Yeah. You left, so you got kicked out. Yeah. What's wrong? You kicked out? And I would be lying here because she wanted to make sure I was practicing my drumming. So this is where I had to lie down. So I found a way that I could lie down and play the drum. So and then one day my Mridanga master came up because he was to meet Swamiji about getting a donation for something, and he comes up and he sees me lying there playing the drum. So I got it not
Sometimes Jasmine, you play your violin lying down, don't you? That's for a bit of fun.
I want to do it in local parties.
Yeah.
You can still see many of the blocks here. Because this is sealed in the left side. These are the blocks that were used for printing Yoga Life and Yoga Step by Step. They're still there.
Such a shame.
That's life. Life.
Why did they seal it up?
Because the government closed the building out and kicked them out. That's why it's falling apart. Why? I'm not sure why.
This one is an image of Sahasrara. Okay, this is an image actually of Sahasrara. And as a seventh center, not as the center that represents the rest. And so when Sahasrara is 7th of 12, this becomes the image for that. But when Sahasrara is the combination of all, you have the 1,000-petal lotus. So here it is more of the energies where you have the Saha and the Aham coming together into the Om with the Namah Shivaya, which is the Siddha way of attaining to Sahasrara. So this becomes Sahasrara in this 12th chakra system. And it comes through the energy of Lord Muruga, who is said to be the one who vocalizes it. So it's a very specific depiction, not found elsewhere. This of course is your Ida Pingala. This is of course the Ida Pingala, and no prizes for guessing which one is the Pingala. The Pingala is the one with the hood. The non-hooded one will be the Ida. This is how those energies are depicted. And this is about bringing together the different systems. The endocrine system, the nervous system, the muscular system, and the cardiovascular with the concept of the chakras and how they are linked. This is more in tune with the Bihar school alignment here, this one. And this is to bring it together. This is your Vishuddha chakra. At the throat center, the hum, with the white elephant, which is there, and the 16 sounds of the Vijas, ang, ang, ing, ing, ong, ong, ring, ring, ling, ling, ing, ang, ong, ong, ang, ang, coming together here. And the forms of Shiva and Shakti, where she has the arrows that she shoots. And Swamiji used to say, with your words you have to be careful because often you hurt more by shooting arrows. And again, your speech can be a white elephant, which means it causes you more trouble than you ever get. And so this type of thing, he would take this image and this would go on for 2 hours, 3 hours a class. This is the Vishuddha. This is Mooladhara, of course. Mooladhara with a yellow square. And the red triangle in here, this represents the Kundalini. So the Kundalini that is within the Kanda as a Shakti, the Brahma and the Saraswati. And here you have the 7-trunked elephant representing the 7 centers that you need to awaken as you grow up. The 4 petals, the lung, and then the Bijas, the Vang, Shang, Shang, Sang that are there. So this again, so each of the 12 centers had a painting like that. Here you have a Ganesha dancing on the earth. If you put your hand in there, maybe there's a frog, but if you put your hand in there, you'll get a ball that you can actually move. It's one of those old tricks they used to do, which symbolizes the earth dancing. You can put your hand. I will show this more. In there. Does it move? That's the earth. Ganesha dancing on the earth.
No, I didn't. Used to me.
Sarvamangalamangale Shive Sarvarsadhage Sharange Triyambake Gauri Narayani Namaste Om Kajyai Kumar Dina He Tanna Devi Prayodayase perch. So whenever we would have cultural programs here, and this would be there was a huge tree, so it would be lighted up and all, and that was the best. That branch, if you go into the side, was the best place to sit, the best view in the hall. And so the top view. And we had one room here for the students, another, and there used to be one building here which had become my theater. I made a movie theater. I actually had a hand projector, got some old film, and so students could pay me 50 paisa and watch a movie. So we would have instruments and we would sing, and then they would have this whatever that movie, who cared whether it matched or not. We had a half an hour show there. That was my movie theater. And on a rainy day, we would go out and all the posters that were on the walls from cinemas, we would take one of them and then put them up. So that was the poster for the movie hall. This land outside here is also the madam. So there's a total of 5 acres, which is that's the area that we hope a negotiation can come for something in the future. But that's actually why they wanted it to utilize that whole area. And it used to be cashew groves, thousands of cashew trees. Now none of them are there. Just it's become a forest. Yes, yes. This is the last of the murals left incomplete when the government took over, which was of Markandeya and Shiva. So that is where Markandeya, who's 16 years old, he comes and he is hugging the lingam, and the god of death Yama comes to take him, and Shiva kicks the god of death. So this was being made. So these next two were supposed to have murals like that when the ashram was taken over. But the one here is of Shiva dancing in Chidambaram, Nataraja Shiva. This is the Nataraja Shiva here, dancing at Chidambaram. So the left leg is up. Left leg up is Chidambaram, right leg up is Madurai. So Shiva's dance, Vishnu is there, Devi is there, Ganesha on a nice Mushika. You can see him sitting on his mouse, and Muruga on the peacock. So this was to be the official entrance to the ashram, and this was to be a road coming down from where the van turns. And so there was supposed to be a roadway down here. That was the plan, and this entrance was to be just the service entrance. The main entrance was to be the so people, this is how people would come in. Never manifested that way. Which is the one that yes.
In the main hall, not this one. Whether it doesn't know not this one, the next That's what.
Yes, this is again, I think Bihar school or some other depiction. This is not the Swamiji's depiction. So yes, what Usha noticed is that depiction of a yellow triangle.
Yellow triangle.
Yeah, this is one of the alternate versions used to explain. Swamiji had already Deer இதுதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டியர். அப்புறம் டியர் அதிகமானோடனே அப்போ மாற்றிட்டு இது வந்து geese. We had half a dozen geese.
My father was once a mother goose.
No, I was a mother of a duck. There was a small duck which grew up, and because it saw me first, he thought I was its mother. It used to follow me every place. And it's mother of a duck. One of my titles, job roles. मातरं सविता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणो त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय विद्योमाम् अमृतङ्गमय हरि ओं तत्सत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेव पूर्णम् अवशिष्यते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभुदिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निर्शेषजाड्यावः ॐ वीणगणाय विद्महे वृन्ध्यपत्नी च धीमहि तन्नो सरस्वती प्रचोदयात् ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात् ॐ जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम ॐ तत्परं पर्याय तन्नो प्रचोदयात् ॐ तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे तत्पुरुषाय धीमहि तन्नो नन्दी प्रचोदयात् ॐ व्योम व्योमाय विद्महे सूक्ष्माय धीमहि तन्नो सूक्ष्मः प्रचोदयात् ॐ गुरुनाथ श्री गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आदि गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
परम गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
लिंग गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
नंदी गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अगस्त्य गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
गिरि गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आनंद गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
देव गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आचार्य गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आदित्य गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आत्म गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अध्यात्म गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
आगम गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
ऐश्वर्य गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अखंड गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अखिल गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अक्षर गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
अनंत गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
भक्ति गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
पावन गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
भीम गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
चक्र गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
चिन्मय गुरुनाथ
नमस्तुते
चित गुरुनाथ
Namostute.
Deepa Gurunada,
Namostute.
Dharma Gurunada,
Namostute.
Divya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vidya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Jnana Gurunada,
Namostute.
Hema Gurunada,
Namostute.
Jaya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vijaya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Jnana Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vijnana Gurunada,
Namostute.
Jyoti Gurunada,
Namostute.
Trikala Gurunada,
Namostute.
Kala Kala Gurunada,
Namostute.
Dharma Gurunada,
Namostute.
Kula Gurunada,
Namostute.
Laya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Lila Gurunada,
Namostute.
Loka Gurunada,
Namostute.
Maha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Mahesha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Mantra Gurunada,
Namostute.
Yantra Gurunada,
Namostute.
Tantra Gurunada,
Namostute.
Mitra Gurunada,
Namostute.
Moksha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Nada Gurunada,
Namostute.
Nirankala Gurunada,
Namostute.
Nirguna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Nirmala Gurunada,
Namostute.
Nitya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Pavitra Gurunada,
Namostute.
Punya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Prakasha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Garna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Prasanna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Priya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Raja Gurunada,
Namostute.
Ratna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Navaratna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Rishi Gurunada,
Namostute.
Rupa Gurunada,
Namostute.
Swarupa Gurunada,
Namostute.
Samadhi Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sadhana Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vibhuti Gurunada,
Namostute.
Kaivalya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sadhu Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sakshi Gurunada,
Namostute.
Natya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sangeeta Gurunada,
Namostute.
Santosha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sattva Gurunada,
Namostute.
Satya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Seva Gurunada,
Namostute.
Shakti Gurunada,
Namostute.
Shubha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Shveta Gurunada,
Namostute.
Siddha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Saubhagya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sudiksha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sukha Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sukshma Gurunada,
Namostute.
Sundara Gurunada,
Namostute.
Surya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Tattva Gurunada,
Namostute.
Teja Gurunada,
Namostute.
Hriya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Avyasa Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vairagya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Veda Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vedanta Gurunada,
Namostute.
Virya Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vishala Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vishoka Gurunada,
Namostute.
Vishwa Gurunada,
Namostute.
Viveka Gurunada,
Namostute.
Yoga Gurunada,
Namostute.
Hema Gurunada,
Namostute.
Karuna Gurunada,
Namostute.
Shanta Gurunada,
Namostute.
Om Gurunada Namostute. Om Loka
Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om.
Before we sit for the prasadam, when we are still a bit fresh, we will just have a group photo. Then we'll sit down so that after food, we can just move without waiting for anybody. So if you can just come over to the where